Yes, yes, yeah. We think it's a crime. There's no question. Hey, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler. I hope that you hope that you're ready to deal with some real issues. You know, here in Chicago, here in Florida, where I am, the governor just signed a transgender sports ban. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means some common sense, pragmatic use of facilities, some pragmatic, common sense use of laws and opportunities for women. What was Title 10 about? What is Title 10 about? Title 10 is about women competing with each other and enjoying an athletic experience. Nothing's wrong with that. I support Title 10 wholeheartedly, even though I thought it damaged opportunities for young men, and that there were schools that couldn't support both female and male. What do you call it? Sports. So it is what it is, or it was what it was, because we overcame that. So as I look back, I think that this whole thing about transgenderism and LGBT, it's way overblown. We let people who are less than what 0.000.1% of the population take center stage. What kind of craziness is that? This is all in the name, though. So you have to understand where this all comes from. This is all in the name of Black folks. Black folks asking to be treated equally. Black people asked to be treated like human beings. Black people who expected, I'm sorry about this light. My lighting's all off because of the move and everything. But I'll have it together. I'll probably have it together next week. I'm expecting my my studio gear to get here, and we'll jazz it up a little bit. Let's see. Let me see if I can turn off this television. I hope my mic's not picking it up. There we go. So, but this whole transgender thing is really getting on my nerve. Banning transgender girls from sports. What's a transgender girl? It confuses me. Is it a transgender girl really a boy that wants to be a girl? A transgender boy is I guess a girl that wants to be a boy. I'm all screwed up. But let me say this. I'm not by myself. I know there are those of you who had the same question. What's a transgender boy? And what's a transgender? Why are we talking about this? These people are less than and besides that, they're mentally ill. So I'm supposed to be mentally ill because you are. You know what I tell transgender people who confront me? And so, well, I've had a woman tell me, well, I'm really a guy. And you know what I say to them? I look them right in the eye, just like I'm doing you. I look them right in the eye and I say, I refuse to participate in your confusion. That's a great answer, isn't it? You know it's a great answer. Hey, chat room out there, fire up, fire it up. Let me see what you guys think about that response. I refuse to participate in your confusion. And I do. I'm not going to do it. It's like the whole LGBT thing. That's a sin. I'm not participating in sin. I'm not participating in crime. I'm not participating in none of that. Not having it. But that's what we do. That's what we do. Hey, yesterday we had Frank Venucio on, and Frank is just such a great guy. I'm glad he could spend some time with us. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tulsa riots, because the country seems to be upset that they don't know more about the Tulsa riots. I have friends that are like, Charles, school me on this, would you? I mean, really, like I never knew about this. Well, uh, yeah, but that's because people don't want you to know. People don't want folks to know what's really going on, what's really gone on in this country. You know, you'll hear people say all the time, well, my great, especially when I was at the Union League Club in Chicago, these people were very arrogant. They'd done very well. They belong to this private club. It's called the Union League Club of Chicago. They have them everywhere. Union League Club of PA, Union League Club of Detroit. You know, they have them everywhere. So anyway, I'm in this club, and people are tickling me to death because, they come in, they go, oh, my grandfather, not my great grandfather, my grandfather came over here with nothing in his pocket, and he made his way. He made his way on his own. Well, that's not quite true. It's like Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel he tells the truth. I have to give Rahm credit. He said he came over here in there was some type of Jewish group, and they helped all the Jews who were migrating to America, right? They were very clear about that, right? They didn't take handouts. It wasn't welfare. They helped Jews who were coming here to get on their feet. They got them jobs, they got them businesses, and that's how they made it, right? So you'll never hear Rahm Emanuel say, "My dad came here and pulled himself up by his bootstraps, and he did it all on his own," because he didn't. He didn't, and that's a good thing. I'm not knocking that. But what I would say is there are people here who go, my great grandfather came and he just pulled himself up by his bootstraps and he just made it. Well, see, your grandfather didn't have to worry about being lynched because some white woman said that he looked her way or that he raped her. See, what they don't tell you about Emmett Till is that this young boy had an axe put in his skull. These barbaric SOBs who killed him put an axe in his skull. The woman who told the lie on Emmett Till came out about 2 years ago and said, "Yes, I lied. I hope she burns in hell." But see, God is a thinking and a resourceful God. He's kept her around this long so she could see what her lie generated. Her lie became the catalyst of the civil rights movement. Emmett Till being killed for whistling at an ugly ass white woman. Bill Cosby, he ain't fare any better. I mean, look at that ugly white woman who put him in jail. I mean, I'm sorry. The chick is ugly. She's ugly. She looks like a man. And I can tell you this, and you guys think about this for a second. Did anybody in Las Vegas complain about Bill Cosby raping them? Did anybody from Las Vegas complain about Bill Cosby harassing them? It's because he didn't have to. He doesn't. A man of that power. Women throw themselves at Bill Cosby and threw themselves at Bill Cosby. I saw it up close and personal when I was with Phyllis Hyman. Hello. So for this ugly, ugly white woman, he said, he drugged me. And then I went back and he drugged me again and he raped me. And then I went back and I took some drugs and I had sex with him again. Like she's helpless. This whole white woman being helpless thing gets on my damn nerves. I used to tell people this when I work with these white guys. Inevitably, I had problems with black secretaries because we share secretaries in the secretary pool. And they wouldn't get my work done. Now, rather than my boss, a guy named Chuck Halso, hillbilly from and draft dodger from Atlanta. So he's a Southern boy from Atlanta who feels guilty that he died to draft and didn't go to Vietnam. So he would tell me, well, I had the military equivalent of a lieutenant commander's rank. I said, but you weren't one. Yeah, but I was in the government. I had that. I said, you weren't one, Chuck. At the end of the day, you weren't one. You could have been if you've been a real Southern warrior, a man of the South who wanted to be like his great granddaddy and go to war. You had plenty of opportunity, boy, but you didn't do it because you're a coward. But he wants to come and he wants to show out on me because he's my boss. This is in San Diego. So old Chuck, like others like Chuck, they don't get it. They don't measure up. They don't measure up. They sit, they talk, they pontificate, they perpetrate, but they're not the real deal. And that really burns them that they're not the real deal like their grandparents were. Like when they're, I marvel at my dad because my dad came to Detroit with nothing. After World War II, he was a Navy vet. And he tells these stories, and he didn't tell them in anger. He didn't tell them in bitterness. I had to pull these stories out of him because I had gone to University of Michigan, and I had done a research paper that basically I concluded that the modern civil rights movement started with Black men coming back from World War II and demanding equality since they had fought the Germans and they fought fascism. So this thing called democracy, they call it the double V, the V in Europe and in what do you call it? The World War II in Europe and in Japan, and then the V for at home and fighting racism. How in the hell does America get away with that? Now, Ed Lubin just called me. Ed Lubin is a good friend of mine. I'm gonna put his butt. I'm gonna put his butt right on the air. I'm gonna put him on the air since he decides to call me during my show. I'm gonna say, hey, Ed, yeah, I have 2 items connected. So I'm gonna call him back, right? I'm gonna call him back and put him on with us. He's not gonna like that, but that's okay. Let's see if we hear him. Let's see. Hey, Ed, how are you? We're on the air because I'm on the air doing my show now. Ed Lubin. Hello? Ed? Ed, how are you? I'm gonna call him back. Hey, Ed, call ended. Voicemail. I think he may be trying to call me. Hold on. Let's see. I hear it ringing, but it's not ringing through my system here. Okay, so anyway, it messed up. I don't know. I was trying to get him on. Ed's a good friend of mine. Let's see, connected. He should be connected here. So if I hit dial, I always like to do this stuff here. You guys know that, right? Can we play it? Let's see. It's calling, but I don't hear anything ringing. Hey, Ed, I'm trying to pull you in to the show. For some reason, it's not. I can't pull the audio in. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll call you back after the show. Okay. Thank you. I couldn't hear him. You couldn't either. My system's still a little suspect at best. But I'll clean it up. I'll get it squared away. You know that. Hey, but this thing called Tulsa has really gotten a lot of people bent out of shape, and rightfully so. And people are angry because they didn't know it. And I was telling you that my dad came back from World War II. His ship pulled into Philadelphia shipyard, and he caught a train to Washington, D.C., and was catching a train home to Florida, Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach area. down south. So when they get to Union Station, they made the black soldiers and sailors get in the Negro cars, which were raggedy, cold ass cars, hot ass cars, worst cars on the train, while the German prisoners sat in front of them in air conditioned cars and laughed at the black troops. The black servicemen who were their enemy. So America treated POWs, our enemies, better than it treated black soldiers and sailors. See, people don't want to hear about that. They don't want to talk about that. Why would they make a movie about the Tuskegee Airmen while the Tuskegee Airmen were alive? That's what Hollywood would not do, because Hollywood is racist. Hollywood is racist, and it's full of racist people. And the people that control Hollywood have always been racist, whether it was Goldwyn, whether it was Mayer, all of the major Hollywood stars were all racist. They were all vaudevillians, and they were all always about money. So they decided to make fun of black people so that the poor Irish would continue to pay those nickels to go to and dimes to go to those movie theaters. It's not Charles Butler saying this. This is true. It's a fact. And you see blacks in entertainment. Blacks don't control any entertainment, and when they do or try to, they get killed. Sam Cooke, perfect example. Sam Cooke wanted to control distribution. Distribution is a Jewish thing. The Jews control distribution. They're the middlemen. So whether it's the diamonds, they don't own any diamonds. They distribute the diamonds. You know, the movie theaters, they make movies, they distribute movies. And if you can't get your movie distributed and it doesn't play in a theater, then guess what? It goes belly up. That's why Spike Lee beat the system. When he did, She's Got to Have It. But because Spike Lee did what he did, by having these movies shown in movie houses that were used as churches at the time, they were older movie houses, I got the idea of creating Black Hollywood. And I almost pulled it off, except for I was betrayed by a woman named Lois Hamilton. She gave my paper to Magic Johnson, and Magic took it to Sony, and that's how Magic got in the theater business. So that's that. But let's get back to Tulsa. People don't want you to know about Tulsa. Tulsa is a sore topic for a lot of people. It's a sore topic for me. A lot of people were killed. In fact, they're finding that hundreds of people were killed and buried in mass graves. Why is that? Why weren't these black people allowed to find the bodies of their friends and family and bury them in their own graves, dignified? And so we're not talking about a long time ago. We're talking about 100 years ago. It's not a long time ago. My dad was born in 1923. That's 2 years after the riots, I guess. And when you think that Emmett Till was killed in what, 53? It's 30 years later, gets his head split open for what, some ugly white woman. I hope that white woman burns in hell for the rest of her life. That's why God has kept her alive so long. She's dealing with the reality that she's going to burn in hell for the rest of her life for lying on that boy. They put a hatchet in his skull. And did the government go down and do anything about it? No. Were white people outraged about it? Some, but not enough. Why did we have Jim Crow? Where in our Constitution does it say Jim Crow can exist? It's not part of states' rights. We have something that supersedes states' rights. It's called the Constitution. And see, you're not going to hear this on Fox. You're not going to hear this on OAN. You're not going to hear this on Raven. These are conservative outlets. You're not going to hear this kind of talk. Why? Because these white folks. Black folks are true conservatives. We've always been conservative. I know white people who, well, I used to be a Democrat when I was younger. I was never a Democrat. I was never liberal. I could never support liberal causes. So whether it was the anti-war movement or I like the hippie movement and the free love now, don't get me wrong. I like that. Yes, indeed. I like the flower power and smelling the flower perfume because, white women wear that kind of flowery perfume. It was great. I enjoyed that, I must say. Hey, Charles, who is this? Roberts watches. Hey, Roberts, what's up, baby? How you doing? Thanks for chiming in out there. So yeah, I like that flower power thing. I like that flower power. I like those flower smells. That perfume kind of remind me. Well, the French women, see, they wear a stronger, more mature kind of smell. American white women tend to wear a, more floral, lighter scent, and those Italian and the French women wear kind of a heavier, more mature smelling cologne. That's not as flowery. I love it. God, just thinking about it brings back memories, sweet, sweet memories of days gone by. Little temptation there if you don't remember that. But the Tulsa riots, the Emmett Till stories. There was a story that was so upsetting for me. It was so upsetting for me, just even thinking about it now bothers me. And it was in the Wall Street Journal. And it was about body parts being traded online. Negro body parts from lynchings. Google it. You'll find it. Just Google it. These white people are trading nigger toes, nigger fingers, nigger eyes, eyeballs, nigger feet. I'm serious. Just look it up. Look it up on TV. And these aren't white supremacists, mind you. They're just regular white people. Go look at a picture of lynching. You got the whole town out there. These are church-going Christians out lynching a black man in America. The only reason lynching stopped is because of TV. And like Martin Luther King ran around talking about being nonviolent. I hate, as you guys know, I hate Martin Luther King's policies. I hate what he did to black folks. And you know, well, you need to be a man. Don't let anyone take away your manhood. Dude, you turn the other cheek. Talk about manhood. Sorry. Everything that he proposed was anti-manhood. But well, don't let them take away your manhood. Stand tall. Take it like a man. Just bend over and, don't fret when you have to take it without any KY jelly, Dude, I tell you, man, this guy, in my opinion anyway, he lost it. And he lost me. I was never a king guy, never will be. But these people are actually trading black body parts from lynchings online. It just makes my skin crawl. And then it makes me angry that people can be so barbaric. And if you don't watch it, you'll get caught in the barbarism. And if you don't believe me, you remember Robert Byrd, a black man who thought he was having drinks with some of his boys, some of his friends. He's getting drunk. And he got drunk and they chained him up and drug him for 2 miles behind a truck. His head bounced off. His head detached from his body. His skull detached from his body. Drinking with his friends. It's hard for me to drink with anybody, but I don't think I'll be drinking and getting drunk Wow, like that. I mean, God. So Joe Biden was at Tulsa and he gave his speech. And again, uh, the words, these guys, they have all the words. They say all the right things that black people want to hear. They say all the right things that white people want to hear. They say all the right things that need to be said, but they never get anything done. What I can say about Donald Trump is he saw the problem and our problems. He corrected the problems and he acted on those problems. And I will always respect and love Donald Trump for what he did for America, what he did for all of us. Personally, I am tired of talking about the race issue, but it's there. It's there. And like I know, that things aren't as bad as the media tries to portray. I was talking to a lady today. She was telling me that she talks to people from all over the country and how wonderful people are and how she said in small towns, she said, I think we get along, unlike the big towns. The big town has problems. And she's probably right. But she was just upset with the media and how the media was portraying this race issue. She's a white lady, but I think everyone's upset with the media and how they're portraying this race issue. I'm certainly not going to go down that road, get on that bandwagon. I think that we, as Americans, need to stop, reflect, and get back to common sense, pragmatic solutions to our issues. And this LGBT thing, we need to push that right back where it needs to be, in the closet. If you want to be LGBT, that's fine. Do it in your own house. Critical race theory could have been and should have been an eye-opening experience, a welcoming experience, but it's not because of the way people rolled it out. And I'm really sad about that, because critical race theory has some truth in it, as does 1776, which basically perpetrates the same old lies about America. We have issues in America. Yes, it's a great country. There's no question. There is no country greater than America. But I say to America, like other black people say to America, let me in. Let me be free. Leave me alone. Allow me to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Leave me alone. I've always found it interesting that wherever I go, or wherever black people generally go, that white people they don't want to help you. They want to kind of control you, tell you what to do, and that's okay. If the end goal is that I get some out of it, but just to I remember not too long ago, there's a young lady that I wanted to date, and she happened to be white. And she wanted to date me. In fact, the first day we met, I took her to we went with a group of other friends and hung out, went to the bars, had some drinks. She said she had to get home to her son. So I took her downstairs to a cab, put her in a cab. She got out, she kissed me. Kissed me, put a big kiss on me. Boom. And I'm like, oh man, this is great. This is gonna be a good friend. It's gonna be somebody I can have a relationship with, maybe. Because she kind of looked like Meryl Streep, and I like Meryl Streep. I like the way she looks. I don't like her politics, but I like her acting and like the way she looks. So as this woman and I developed a relationship, a friendship, she found that I was very conservative. I wasn't a liberal. And that really upset her, that I was a conservative. She's like, we can't date, Charles. I'm like, why? We like each other. We're attracted to each other. Why can't we date? She's like, well, you're Republican, and I'm, I'm who I am. I'm a liberal. I can't date a conservative. I said, well, that's your choice. But it doesn't make any difference to me. I mean, once we get in bed, all that goes away. I'm pragmatic, I'm very, very pragmatic when I need to be. T Rob, what's up? T Rob, you out there hanging, baby. And so I'm telling the stories today. So, anyway, long story short, we did not end up dating. We ended up talking from time to time. But one of the things that I was telling you about these kind of people, these liberal kind of people, she tried to correct me about the pronunciation, the enunciation of a word. So I Googled the word, then I had it pronounced. And I found out that, yes, I was pronouncing the word correctly. She was pronouncing the word incorrectly. And she spoke a little French, and I speak a little French. So probably du français, you know. And so we go back and forth with a couple of things here and there. So, but we couldn't work that out because she felt so strongly about her politics. And it's not like she was involved in politics. It's not like she was involved in the Democratic machine or working with any politicians like me. But see, I don't. It's like James Carville. I met James Carville at Union League Club. When I told him I was a Republican, he had this ardent scowl and disdain, like I really gave 2 cents. And you know what I want to say instead of 2 cents, right? But I didn't give 2 cents about what James Carville thought. But I wanted him to know that I wasn't a Cinco fan, that I wasn't one of those dumb Negroes who would vote for a Democrat when Democrats are the ardent racists in our society. I didn't want him to think that I would support white liberals or lefty liberals who are nothing but racist. And see, anybody with any sense, anybody with an ounce of sense, anybody with one iota of reason would come to the conclusion that liberals, lefties, and the Democrat Party are the party of racists. So they can talk about the Proud Boys. Proud Boys are nothing. It's kind of like David Duke. If you say, well, David Duke, he was a grand wizard of how many Klansmen? 10? 5? But they made this guy out like he had millions of followers, but they didn't do that for Emmett Till. In fact, the woman who killed Emmett Till, how come somebody hasn't interviewed her? How come somebody hasn't given her a heart attack? I would love to. But I want them to revive her. I want to give her a heart attack and have her revive. I don't want her dead. I want her to live and see what she's done, the damage that she's done, the lives that she's destroyed, and the lives that she's helped. Because, as I said before, the killing of Emmett Till brought on the civil rights movement. Anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm going to go to break. It's about, what time is it? I'm about 30 minutes from my real break. So I'm going to play a little George Howard, take a little break. We'll be right back. Thank you. I'm Jewish. Okay. Which month is Jewish history month? That is. Oh. Why not? Okay, we're back, and there were a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about besides Tulsa. Um, Tulsa's a tough one. Tulsa's a tough one for me because it's kind of close to home, and I over the years I've grown to respect it and and deal with it for what it is. I'm going to play a clip of a woman who was at Tulsa, and her family. She talks about seeing the airplanes overhead. Tulsa's the only city I find is interesting. Tulsa is one of two cities that was bombed from the air. The other was Philadelphia. And of course, nobody wants to talk about that when that happened. That was in the 70s. I think it was the Republic of New Africa? I can't remember. One of those groups. They bombed them from the air, and they killed a few people. And that was bad. That was really bad. But this lady, we'll play this clip from her. Let's see here. I guess it didn't transfer over. I tried to transfer a tape over. Nope. I guess it didn't transfer over. But there was this black woman who testified before Congress, and she talked about hearing the planes and the smells and seeing black people in the street murdered. The kind of domestic terror that blacks have been subjected to and are still subjected to today. Let's be clear. I want you to be clear that today, blacks are more likely to be killed sitting in their home watching TV than white people. Nobody thinks about that. Nobody says anything about it. Nobody talks about it. The question is why? People are killed sitting in their home. How many young people are killed sitting in their home? Just, watching TV, just kicking it, man. Boom. Bullet comes through the window. Changes your whole life. But that's going on in the black neighborhood. Nobody's talking about it. Not even Black Lives Matter. Because to Black Lives Matter, Black lives really don't matter. That's what people need to understand. Black Lives Matter is a sham. And those of us who are around, we talk about it all the time. It's a sham. In fact, a young man, I think he's out of Pittsburgh. He's resigned from Black Lives Matter because he knows that it is not about Black lives. It's about making people feel guilty and sending checks. Black Lives Matter collected $90 million. They didn't disperse one dime to black organizations. Black Lives Matter, folks. Didn't disperse one dime to other organizations. They kept all that money for themselves. And, and the girl, she got busted buying all kind of houses, remember? Oh boy. But that doesn't surprise me. And it shouldn't surprise you. I mean, that's what they do. And she got busted. Supplying all of those buying those houses. She bought what, $3 million worth of houses or something like that. Could I be so lucky, man? Could I be so lucky, huh? You can't make this stuff up. I tell people that all the time. History is much more fascinating than fiction. Much more fascinating than fiction. Oh, I mean, so there we go. I think that's yeah, we're on now. But man, I tell you, it's been real. Let's see here. Um, I hate those fillers, don't you? I hate those fillers. But let's see if I can pull up this file. Because I've been trying to download it for you on the whole show. Okay, there it is. I think it's right there. Let's play it and see what happens. Uh, let's see. We'll open it with ta-da, media. There we go. Let's see what happens. The Gremlins. I'm not the only one who had a Gremlin issue today. Uh, Mike Gallagher had a Gremlin issue. So I was in good company. Uh-oh. I got a new media player. Like I need one, right? Here we go. No, I don't think that's it. Okay, let's try this. Okay. I'll open it with, here we go. Let's see if this works. Nope. It says it can't play that file. Oh well. So much. I tried. I tried. But like I said, I'm trying to work out the gremlins in the system. And they are here, unfortunately. I've been spending a great deal of time while I was away just thinking about issues of the day, thinking about Joe Biden, thinking about how much damage he's done to this country in 4 months and how little, in 5 months, I should say, 5 months, and how little Americans have done in response to the very detrimental things he's done to this country. First day he was in office, he put 62,000 Americans out of work. 62,000. Stroke of a pen. Executive orders can be a very powerful thing if followed. So, what I'll say to you and to others is that we need to be vigilant. We need to get on it. We need to get Joe Biden out of there. Well, by the way, maybe we can impeach Joe Biden after uh, midterms. Because, see, I'm pretty sure the Republicans are going to take back the House, and they need to impeach Joe Biden just because. But they can impeach him on a number of different things. The border being out of control, national security, his dealings with China, Hunter's dealings with China. It goes on and on and on. This guy has a 42-year history of doing nothing. And he certainly has, over the last 12 years, a history of selling out his office by virtue of his son and his brother. These people are under indictment. Hunter got indicted. Nobody talks about that. The question becomes why? How come nobody's interested in these things? Well, I am, and I'm sure you are. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, we jamming over here. Little George Howard. Hey, when I was talking about Black Lives Matter and the gentleman who pulled out, he was the St. Paul founder who he quit Black Lives Matter. He said it's racist against black children over charter schools. It's racist, period. It's ran by white people. You know, and I always tell this story, and I don't know if you all remember me telling you about this, but last summer, Black Lives Matter had petitioned the city to shut down 2 miles of the city, and they showed up on a Saturday. They've been telling this in the news. Oh, we're going to shut down the city. We're going to shut down the city for 2 hours. We're going to shut down the Dan Ryan for 2 hours, 2 miles, 2 hours. Yada 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 yada. Black Lives Matter showed up in the community. The black people turned out and said, "Take your butt home. We don't want you here. You come here, you make the police mad, and then you leave. And you leave us with the problem." So Black Lives Matter got ran out of Chicago, just like Al Sharpton got ran out of Chicago. And nobody talks about that because it doesn't fit the narrative. See, Al Sharpton is a leader, a black leader. I remember Al Sharpton saying that about this woman that was on MSNBC. It wasn't Joy Reid, of course, but her name was Dr. I think her name was Michelle. I can't go with her name, but she got ran out of MSNBC. She was so wild. But I remember Sharpton telling her she's now a black leader. Lord, who elected these people? I always say, who leads the gays? Who leads the Latinos? Who leads the Jews? No one. Black people don't need no leader. These are self-aggrandizing people that figure that they can get paid for being race baiters. And that's what they do. But we live in a very, very, very dangerous time. We live in a very chaotic time in that 2 + 2 is 5. Or it's 2 + 2 7. Or it's 2 + 2 9. Whatever 2 + 2 is, it can be right because teachers say it's right. I'm serious. We know better. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to have a guest with me. Thinking about calling Stephen Moore, talk about the economy. But I'll have someone here who we'll spend some time hanging out and talking about issues of the day. And for those of you who like to talk about Tulsa, tomorrow I'm gonna have the phones hooked up, so you can call in. We can chat. But man, Tulsa riots. Man, I just couldn't really get into the heinous part of the burning of the bodies and all that stuff. But what are you going to do when you don't have guns? Huh? You want to take guns? We want to take guns out of the hands of law-abiding black folks so we can lynch their ass. You got these Negro preachers running around talking, we don't need guns. The Lord gonna protect us. Ask Jesus how that worked out. Roman soldiers came and got him. Okay? Ask Dr. King how that worked out. Okay? God helps those who help themselves. Don't you forget it. And for those of us who do, for those of you who do, I can guarantee you there are people around who will pull you right back in.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Yeah, it was Freeman, Morgan Freeman. He was talking about, and we did that segment too before. He was talking about he didn't believe in Black History Month. He doesn't even know what Black History Month is. He's kind of weak academically. But look, I'm going to sign off today. It's been a long day. It's been a great time having you with me. And thanks for tuning in and listening, okay? We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, bringing you different insight, different perspective. What's going on in America?